back in with the car again. Got a bit of progress done. I'm really not entirely sure. I do this every time where I get a heap of stuff done, don't film much of it, and then forget where I'm at. So I guess we will start in here, where you can see now the dash is back in. I've currently got all this just sitting out, just in case there's any issues, but I'm just about to connect the battery up and test everything out. Now, headlights and indicators and stuff like that won't work yet because I haven't wired any of that stuff in, because I need to get some plugs to be able to disconnect them. But yeah, we're currently got all the injector wires all labelled, cam and crank sensors, all the coil packs labelled. I've just got to work out which one of these will go to the oil pressure sensor, water temperature, throttle position sensor, air temp. So yeah, making some progress. Manifold has been faced, so that will sit flush now once it's ready to be bolted up. Yeah, new seals, a couple of bolts that need to be replaced. I've just got these ones holding it down for now, but I did get new seals and new Allen key bolts and everything like that. What else had I done? Basically all the wiring's done, just got to wire the motor up. As you can see, I've dummy fit the radiator and all the front ends back on. That will come off again once I get the cooler and stuff sorted, but it's more just there for mocking up at the moment. I don't know whether I filmed it or not, but power steering rack has been rebuilt. I put all the lines in and tested it all and got it all working, and basically it was leaking like a sieve, which I knew. Clutch is all bled, clutch lines in, so yeah, got that clutch now. Everything in here's all looking pretty good. I'll come around this side. Oh, fuel rail, that's the other thing we got. So we got fuel rail fittings on the end ready to go. I think next week I'll pick up the radiator and injectors, so that'll all go on, and by that point I'm hoping that I have the new heat shrink labels for my label maker, so then I can finish off the wiring on the engine bay. So that's the only reason why that hasn't been finished yet, is I'm waiting for the heat shrink so I'm able to print on the labels, so I can label all the plugs and have them all looking a little bit more flash, so I'm not just looking at the plug going, what's this one for? I mean, it's self-explanatory, I know, but I do want to make it as neat as I can. I will get some light. So ECU mounted up here in the corner. Reason for it being up there was to clear the roll cage when it wants to come down here to the floor. Power steering pump and everything's all connected. Yeah, wiring's a little bit messy up there still, but I kind of like where the dash sits in this. You can't sort of seem to see any of it. Wastegate, got a tile 44mm wastegate for it. It's just second hand. Now I've ordered a new flange, because as you can see this one here is a bit dicky and the pipe's really small. So I've just ordered a new flange for that. I'm just waiting for that to rock up. Now you can see the diaphragm. Was it there? No, here. There's a split in the diaphragm here. So a little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. I would rather put a fresh diaphragm back in and have it all back to as new as I can. Yeah, I was almost just going to put it straight on, but that was basically why I did that, was pulled it apart, because I'm just trying to eliminate all these little issues, because I've had this stuff happen before. So yeah, just eliminating issues one by one. So what we're about to do right now, which is why I went and got the camera, is excuse me, getting my fat ass in the car. we are about to test. Just move that out of the way. We're about to test my wiring. First time in a while that there's been a battery connected. Alright, we ready for this? Because this is going to supply power to everything from here. What are we missing? Well, we've got issues. I feel like I've missed one of the power wires for something. Something's not getting power somewhere. So leave it with me. I will do some sort of digging and work out what's going on here, because everything should work. I should have my power windows working. Everything should be working, so might have to have a bit of a fish around and see what the issue is, whether it's a bad earth or whether I've made some other mistake somewhere. Yeah, my head hurts. Because everything should come on. Alright, leave it with me, we'll work it out. Right, so here we are. The next day. Basically, yes, there were some issues. It was a bit partially my fault. Well, it was all my my fault actually. Basically what had happened was one of the plugs for this section here, so all the plugs holding all this stuff in, was a bit short, and I sort of like tried to wriggle it, thinking that it might have just been caught on something, and what I'd ended up doing was pulling out the earth pin for the plug. So essentially nothing on the, I think, ignition side, no, on the accessory side was getting earth. So I sorted that out, then realised that the accessories relay, and don't ask me why, I went through all this, and when I wired it all up, obviously just wasn't paying enough attention, but I didn't wire the accessories relay correctly or the power steering pump relay correctly. So basically both of those two were just two wires were back to front. Basically the supply was the feed and the feed was the, anyway, nothing too bad. Fixed all that, swapped a few wires around, and this is where we're at now. So turn accessories on, you get stereo, got interior light, we will have hazards on the accessories, also have the party lights. I'm not sure if you can see those under there, but basically party lights and interior lights. From memory, I'm not sure exactly what else comes off the accessories. There's probably some other stuff, but like brake lights come off the accessories. I think that might be it. So then we go ignition comes on, and then we have things like headlights. So you see these lights come on when I turn the headlights on. Obviously there's no lights in the car at the moment. High beams are working with that, and then we also will have the wipers working off that, and power windows up here, it's essentially meaning the headlights are on. So we got air fuel, oil pressure, boost and water temp. The oil pressure isn't going to get connected for some reason. I think I'm just going to use the oil pressure sensor. You can get a screen for the Microtech, and that will go up here, so that won't be needed. I'll probably replace that with maybe oil temperature or something along them lines. We'll have to work that out, but that'll just be filling the hole for the minute. So yeah, basically if we do this now, we can turn the car over. So that means that we are pretty close to firing this thing up. So essentially once I get the labels for the heat shrink label maker, I'll finish off the wiring for the engine. Probably by that point, so by probably next weekend, I'll have the injectors, so put the fuel rail on, injectors on, plumb all the lines up. I'll get some fuel for it, fuel it up, and should be able to start this thing up, which is a huge milestone for this thing. Oh, well, basically this motor in general. I've had it for over a year now, and it hasn't yet been ran, so we'll be very happy when it finally fires up and we get to hear it. So that's about where we're at with all of that. I might just show you. I'll turn the hazards on. It's a bit of a pain getting it out of this thing, but yeah, if you come back here and have a look, we've got tail lights, hazard lights. This will turn on as soon as I plug this in. That will basically come on with the ignition. I've just got that fuse out for now, so it doesn't keep coming on every time I turn it on to do stuff. But yeah, that's where we're at with all of that. So she's now back in action. So that was a little slight panic station for a minute there. I thought I'd really done something wrong, but no, obviously just probably late night, wasn't thinking enough, and yeah, managed to get some things crossed up. But yeah, we're all fixed now, so everything's working. So just got to wire the temp gauge in. I might do that tonight. Bolt the seat in, and we're sort of almost done in here. Everything's kind of really done. ECU's mounted, everything's sweet. So yeah, pretty stoked on that one. Alright, we've got our new coilovers here. Some BC racing coilovers. Now these are not the top of the line, they're the BR, I think. Got the custom ones, just got a little bit heavier in the front, just being that it's got the bigger motor in there. Still, so was it 10 in the front, 6 in the rear, I think. So that should work out fine. If not, we'll make some changes to them. But basically, we'll get them open. I might actually, I might open these up first, I reckon, and then we'll go from there, eh? Actually, no, we won't. No, we won't. No, we won't, because they're bloody right there. This is pretty exciting for me, because this is the first set of brand new coilovers I've ever bought. So lots of bloody packing in there, that's for sure. Most of the ones that I've bought before have been just a you know, pretty well maintained unit, nice sort of reasonably new things. I've never really sort of seen the need to get new ones, but for this car I decided that it was going to be worth it. The ones that were on there weren't that great, and I couldn't really find anything second hand. Well, here we are. It's been quite a few months, I think, since the last time I filmed. It's definitely been a little while since the last update. I'd like to say not a huge amount's happened, but there's been quite a bit happen with the car as far as getting things done. So I guess we'll start sort of where we left off with that last little installment, which will be included in this same video. So I guess we'll start from the back and we'll work our way forward. So I'm not even going to bother opening the boot up, but essentially I've just cut the cross bracing out from the boot. Obviously not really needed, just trying to save a little bit of weight and what have you. The rear end, not sure if you can actually see that nice and clearly or not, but it has now got solid subframe bushes. Subframe was just given a quick coat of paint, along with the lower control arms. We've got some brand new BC coilovers in there. Now essentially I've just put all the standard rear arms and everything back in like that, purely just because I'm probably going to end up getting it dynoed and things like that before I end up getting some rear arms. I'll worry about the rear arms at a later date, but essentially I'm sort of just trying to get it back on the ground and get the thing finished, so I'm able to get it tuned and all that kind of stuff before I keep spending money. Now we've got rear speakers. Both seats are now mounted, so passenger seat's now in there. Now that seat isn't adjustable, that's just where it is. Same with the driver's seat, so it is what it is. I won't be moving into them anytime soon, no real need for it. All the dash and everything's all pretty well in. The only thing left to do was next time I pull the dash out to put the flock coating on it, I've just got to swap the wire for what I thought was just the backlights, but it turns out it's the power feed for the gauges. So yeah, like I've said, I think probably in the previous video, that will just get swapped over to ignition. So once ignition comes on, all the gauges are on. But yeah, as far as everything else goes, like yeah, rear brakes, all that's all back on, so handbrakes all operating again. As far as inside goes, that's pretty well it. ECU and that's all mounted up under there. Not sure if I put that in the last little installment, but yeah. So now I'm not sure if I put it in that last video or not, but I now have 25mm over fender, well not over fenders, but they're like a wider fender. I do still have to cut out the inner. Some brand new BC coilovers that are covered in dust because they've been sitting in there so long. Brand new S13 inner and outer tie rod ends. Brand new ball joints, extended lower control arms, and I do still have to order the high offset, was it the high clearance sway bar, whatever you call it. But yeah, got guard braces on, all that's pretty well sorted. So most of the suspension is brand new. It's pretty much there's just a few bushes in the lower control arms, things like that aren't new, but I didn't really need to replace them. They were all in quite good condition still, so I've just left those for now. If they need replacing at a later date, we'll do that. But yeah, I've put all the front end back on, front bar, headlights, everything's mounted. Had to make a little bracket for this headlight because it was a bit broken. Now I've still got to get a cooler, and then obviously run all these wiring and stuff like that into a better location. It's just covered in dust. It's been sitting for a while. But yeah, all the headlights are all wired up. Obviously all this stuff's just sitting there for the minute. I've just got it plugged in, just making sure everything was working. But yeah, as far as engine goes, we've got thermos now, all mounted and all plugged in, ready to go. Engine has been moved back. I did finally bite the bullet and move the engine back, as you can see, because it just got the better of me really. The more I looked at it, the more I wasn't happy with it, so I finally bit the bullet and modified the engine mounts. So that's definitely a lot more clearance there now. Manifolds all bolted up, bolts, new gaskets. The wastegate and screamer pipe has all been plumbed up and ready to go. I do have to get a new diaphragm for the wastegate, however, but like I said, that's not a hugely important thing right now. Once the car's sort of getting a bit closer, I'll worry about that. I do have a TD06 20G there that does need a rebuild, so I've just got to get some rebuild bits to rebuild that, and then that'll all be fitted up, and then I can start making the exhaust and probably do the cooler piping around the same time. Fuel rail, I got all new seals and stuff like that for the fuel rail because I put it on and it started leaking and whatnot, so that's all sweet now. Basically, honest, like it's ready to go. I've got my knuckles with Phil at the moment, getting some P-knuckles. Whenever they're ready, basically that's all I'm waiting for to put the front end back together and get the thing back on the ground. But it's pretty exciting for me, purely based on the fact that the car is very, very close to being ready. And when I say ready, I mean ready enough to get it tuned and I guess drive it. It doesn't really need a great deal, so I've just got to plumb the radiator, few turbo lines, few water lines and stuff. That's about it. Doesn't really need a great deal. I do need an electronic boost controller, but for now I may even just run just a valve, just a T-piece valve. Like I said, I'm not really going to be pushing it to start with. It's just going to be pretty well get it tuned, make it safe, and drive the thing and just make sure it's reliable. I don't really want to just turn everything up and have everything, you know, working at its limit straight away, because I don't know how it's going to like it. But yeah, so I've had to modify the probably can't see it under there, but I had to modify the cross member for the gearbox as well, obviously, once the motor was moved back. Yeah, I really don't know what else I've done. I don't know, I should probably show you this. So put a little cover over the old hole for the fuel filler. But yeah, we're pretty close. It doesn't really need a great deal. Like I said, those rear arms I'm going to leave for now. Also just to get it on the ground and more focus on the tuning side of things and getting it working and make sure it's all good. There might be little issues I run into as I go along. Might be little things I might need to rectify or buy new. But at this stage, it's pretty well ready to go. There's really not a great deal left to do. So essentially, I've just started an electrical apprenticeship. So that's meant that funds for the car are probably going to be a little bit lower than usual. So basically, yeah, when this thing's ready, I'm not sure. I wanted to I'd set myself a goal to try and have it ready by next year, sort of thing, so I could sort of, when I say start the season, I mean not that I really compete with it to start with, but basically if there's a comp coming up and it's ready to go, I'm going to enter it. But at this stage, like I'm going to try aim for next year, but yeah, with the apprenticeship sort of side of things, it might put a bit of a slowdown on things, so we'll just have to see how we go, I guess. But at this stage, I just really want to get it going, get it running. I do have to take the ECU out, take that to the tuner, and basically get him to load it all up so it knows it's got E85, the coil packs are different, etc. So then I can fire it up, make sure she's all running, and yeah, once I'm at that point, it's pretty well tune it, as long as it doesn't overheat or do anything silly. It's good to go. So it'll probably at some point go out to JDMX Park for a bit of a test sort of thrash, just to see what happens and see how it likes it. And then I think from that point, it'll probably come back in the garage and be parked up for a little while. I might tidy a few things up. I do really want to try and get some paint on it. You know, as you can see, there's a few dents and what have you in the roof from my bike falling on it that I wasn't overly thrilled about. So I'll clean all this sort of crap up and probably just get some paint on it, and yeah, should be ready to go. So that's pretty well where we're at for now, and probably will be for a little bit. We do have some exciting stuff coming up. Have another car, something that you're probably not really going to be expecting, especially with having the Silvia. And actually today I'm going to look at another Silvia, potentially to, I guess, buy, clean up, and sit on for a while, whether I sell it and make some money or whether I keep it make, you know, sort of keep it as a bit of an investment. I'm not really sure what the plan is with it yet, but that's just a non-turbo manual clean S13, so which is kind of hard to find these days. But yeah, there'll be a bit of content with that. But yes, this other one I'll try and film. To be honest, I probably won't release a great deal of the footage until the car's finished, but that car will be quite an exciting one to watch, so watch this space. There'll be a bit more happening, I guess. Maybe not for the next probably few months yet, but yeah, we'll get there. And once this thing's on the track, then you'll probably start finding a bit more footage. I don't really want to just bore you guys and keep just putting footage of track day after track day after track day, because it does get a bit boring after a while. So I want to try and sort of keep a bit of fab stuff. Been doing a bit of fab stuff for some other people as well, so probably get a little bit of that footage in as well. And yeah, basically just try and keep you guys wanting to watch. Not that there's a heap of you, but yeah, I'm not really fussed on who's watching and when. This is more just a bit of a sort of document store for me. So if I want to go back and see what I've done, or you know, look back at the cars I built, it's where I can do it. If you guys want to subscribe and like the videos, that obviously helps. But at this stage, yeah, it's just a bit of a hobby for me. So don't expect them to be too regular, because yeah, I've got work and things like that and kids and stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at, and we'll probably be for a little bit, so hang tight, and there'll be more later. Peace out.